I was thinking it's going to be a shorter live stream, and it's topical since I can talk about being sick. Not so much for me to blog, but when you have the right context, it gives you the right ideas on something that you could speak about. But hearing myself now, I sound still worse than I imagined. But what I can do at least, because I'll still be keeping my eye out for the chat and we'll see how this goes. But I figured I could kind of talk through just a couple times. Like, first, I could relay it conversationally, how I've been telling other people how I feel. Then we can just go over quickly, like some of the conversational phrases, like how you would describe yourself. And then maybe we can talk through, like, if you actually did want to go to a doctor and express yourself. So, quick casual overview, repetition of describing how you feel, and then going to the doctor. That's the plan anyway, until I get disrupted by someone who joins in the chat. Um, this is not just a cold, definitely a bad flu I've been fighting this past week. No, I don't know if it's COVID or not. I didn't think to test a lot of those free COVID test kits that we got during the pandemic. Most of those expired now. If you think about it, 2020 was 5 years ago. It's insane, man. But what separates a cold from a flu? All right, because this is something that I saw friends and family and loved ones when they went through the extreme side effects of the COVID vaccine. And people said that, oh, yeah, some of the vaccine symptoms is like a really bad flu. I found out that some people never had the flu before. So, what distinguishes it? Like, first of all, um, the way it went. So, fighting through it for a week. First day, I just thought I had migraines and muscle soreness from working out because as you get in your 30s, recovering from the gym takes longer. Sorry for the sun. Okay. Um, yeah, and I just thought, okay, not doing anything too crazy from the workouts, but just having to recover longer than usual. And then on Tuesday, that's when like the sore throat kicked in, scratchiness, and still like cold symptoms, runny nose, sore throat. At this point, I didn't have a cough, but it was Wednesday and Thursday where fever, chills, and just like aches all over the body where it's hurting. So, what I told people when I was doing personal training, there's a difference between just having soreness and then feeling like you're in pain. Again, sorry for the lighting. Maybe we gotta hop up. Like, yeah, that's a lot better. Well, I don't know. My face is close and personal, but the I'm already pale. Hey, Carla, how you doing? Hope you're not sick. We're just gonna recap me being sick and then get into like some sick vocabulary. But again, the difference between soreness and then just aches and pains, and it was all over, not just muscles, joints, and basically being bedridden for all Thursday and Friday. Thursday evening, I thought I was over it, and that's where I don't want to jinx myself today, thinking that I'm over it also, only to nosedive and feel worse again. But sweating through clothes, having to change shirts like multiple times throughout the day, shivering, the fever, and like the intensity of the pain. So I think on Thursday, throughout the whole body, but then on Friday, all that pain just concentrated into the head. Uh, Carla, I've been better. Uh, I had a friend who used to say, "Oh, I'm so tired from work. I wish I could get sick so I could get a break." And that friend was stupid. Okay, because again, a small cold is one thing, but like a flu, nobody wants to get the flu. Like you feel so demoralized. Again, could I be in better shape? Could I be exercising more? Yeah, maybe. But I'm physically active, and to like be just confined to your bed as if you were paralyzed, you don't have energy to move around, do anything, is horrible. Um, Man, I do not know why that flashing is going on there. Um, But yeah, taking meds, and one thing that compounded it for me was, I think on that Thursday, Friday, I realized that I was also dealing with caffeine withdrawal. Um, I don't know how many other countries talk about this. Plenty of other countries drink coffee and tea, right? But I feel like there's a stereotype of Americans being addicted to coffee. Um, and I realized that come Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, uh, not having any caffeine whatsoever. So I think that exacerbated the pain. Hey, Carla, so you have ADHD? Yeah, maybe we can talk about that as this goes on. That's a little bit more complex than a flu and cold symptoms, but I'd like to be able to talk about that. My best friend has ADHD, and I'd be really curious. Hey, Eclipse, how you doing, man? Hope you're not sick like I am. Um, ADHD and a lot of other things are getting a lot more attention these days, but I think there is a difference between buzzwords and people who actually experiencing it. I'm not saying that you're using the buzzwords meaning. I'd be real curious how you feel, like if you've been dealing with it, right? And then suddenly all these other people say, "Oh yeah, Carla, I have ADHD too," and if you actually feel united or annoyed by those type of people. What's going on, Patrick Starr? Man, I miss me those old SpongeBob episodes. Um, so yeah, that's where we are, uh, going through all those things. So the quick phrasal practice. So if someone's asking how you're feeling, you know, I think for a non-native English speaker, if you try to get your vocabulary too good, too clean, it doesn't really capture how you're feeling in the moment, right? So here's an example, because I still remember clear as day some of my students. They're not feeling well. How are you feeling? I am not feeling well. Does that really capture, like, maybe grammatically, maybe in the meaning? I'm really not feeling well. Okay. And if they had the awareness and the pronunciation and the tone of their voice, they could say, "Oh yeah, I'm really not feeling well." Okay, but you could be more direct, and we know we can get colorful. I'm not saying that we have to curse, but you just got to compare yourself to like things like, honestly, where my mind went, I feel like garbage. I feel like trash. I feel like crap. I feel like, then you can use the curse words. Um, what else? I feel like I feel like a pile of dirty laundry. Lord Bluement, what's going on? Nick, you're feeling fine. That's good, man. Just because I'm sick doesn't mean that other people have to feel sick too. Um, nice, man. Congrats. What's the next goal? 200? Rika, if you're sick, hopefully you're not dealing with the flu. And if you are, hopefully you are getting over the worst of it. Drink lots of fluids. 500, nice. Keep it up. Um, hey, I appreciate it, Lord Blue Mint. Stay minty. Dude, talking about mints, that's dude, the nastiness of your breath. Yeah, we should talk about that. So yeah, I'm not feeling good. Feel like crap. Feel terrible. You can express other parts of your body. My mouth feels like a trash can. Like no matter how many times I brush my teeth. Yeah, maybe that's too much information, but like those are the things that you need to pick apart. My nose at one point was just like a faucet, a clogged up faucet where runny nose, it's like constantly flowing, you got to blow it, but there's um like a witch's cauldron where it's just like bubbling. you know, there's like Swamp Thing is like about to emerge from there. Um, luckily, the I did have congestion. So congestion is like the pressure in your chest and feeling like you need to cough to spit things up. Like your body goes through that reaction and that phase, but Luckily, I didn't have too much gunk to actually spit up because I've had those phases where you just have so much phlegm, so much snot down there. It is terrible. And luckily, the soreness of the throat didn't linger too long. But the tension and the pressure in the head is still kind of there. Sinus pressure. Um, the medication that I was cycling through was Dayquil and Alka-Seltzer Cold, and like the only difference between the two was the main antihistamine and like the decongestant were the same. So let's talk about that again real quick. So congestion is where you have that pressure. The medication is the decongestant. Congestion, decongestant. Okay. The main painkiller, though, you either have aspirin or acetaminophen. Acetaminophen is the technical word for Tylenol. I think in other countries, paracetamol is what it's called. Okay. So loosely feeling, going through what I went through, how I'm feeling. Then let's close this out talking about when you're going to a doctor. Okay. So you go to the doctor, you say you're not feeling well, especially if you're dealing with how I was at the peak of the flu. You really need to lay it on to your doctor. I'd be curious how this is in other countries because, unfortunately, um, there are some medical professionals who won't really care. There are some medical professionals who just treat you like a number. Um, Even if like the flu can feel really bad, I don't know if this is one where you would go to the hospital necessarily. Urgent care, even though the term is urgent care, is just like a clinic that's available for walk-in. Appointment is still preferred, but you can walk into that facility. Um, Pharmacies like CVS and Walgreens, they usually have a clinic inside of them now as well, and it's convenient because they also have the pharmacy right next to them. Um, I'm not quite sure what the medical professional would prescribe to you aside from the over-the-counter medications. But again, when you're feeling really bad, like it's really hard to think straight. And if you've never had this intensity of a sickness, and what if it's not the flu? Better safe than sorry. And so you go there. This is a situation where you don't want to be. I was going to say don't be too polite, but I just mean don't be too polite in your vocabulary. Just like I said before, when you're talking, you say, "Oh, I'm not feeling very well." You're not really capturing the picture. Like you need to go through it. You need to like this is the time to overshare rather than undershare, right? So I feel awful. I feel terrible. Like I have zero energy. It's hard for me to get out of bed. The well, you probably wouldn't describe it like this way, but like the intensity in my head, it felt like I was fighting the X-Men and Professor X thought I was Magneto and he was trying to destroy my brain like by concentrating all the energy blast right here. Um, the body, like I felt like I just went through a boxing match with Mike Tyson and I didn't land any hits and they had to drag me out of the ring, just like feeling that beat up. Like, because it's one thing to say, like, oh, I hurt. But again, like, there's no indication in the tone of voice, oh, I hurt. I'm hurting. No, like, my body is killing me. Like, I can't, real one here. I don't remember the last time I felt this bad. Like when I was telling my friend that I was this sick, he asked me if it felt as bad as the COVID vaccine symptoms. And I really don't know because some of those COVID booster shots did have some intensity, but they were quick. I think like within a day. Like I won't say that I've never felt this sick before because I know I have, but it's like one of those sicknesses where you are so glad that you forgot it. I think like I haven't been this sick in at least like a decade. Like maybe I don't know if when I was in Japan or last time was when I was a student, but it's been a long, long time to basically feel really helpless. Okay. It's like in a lot of pain. I think if you can, this gets tricky because like I'm always worried about people abusing and misusing the guidance that I want to give with English. But just kind of steer your doctor. It's like, the fever maybe like I can't seem to bring this fever down, or like, oh, this pain just won't subside, and maybe the doctor prescribes something, or they can give you like a better estimate on like how much longer it'll linger. Because sometimes like you do have to endure. Sometimes like people are so quick to take down the fever, but like that's your body's immune system dealing and working with it. Like there's a reason why the body temperature elevates, right? Um, yeah. So we went through that overview. We talked about feeling like crap, gave a little bit of guidance, talking to your doctor, drink a lot of liquids. This morning using the restroom, I was like, holy crap, I'm super, super, super dehydrated when I thought I was staying on top of my liquid consumption. Um, Rika, on CapCut, anything else you want to say on sickness before we close out here? I think you said you're doing well, right? Or I can't remember if you're finding a sickness too. Or do you have any home remedies that you recommend? Like ate some pho, drank some soup, uh, actually didn't drink any tea. I feel like eating ice cream could be a thing, if your throat's really sore, but dairy can mess up people. Um, and it's not always worthwhile. Yeah, not to like be a doomer, but I I thought like a couple years ago we were supposed to expect something like a sequel to all that stuff, right? And things got real quiet. So there's always something. I have heard that quite a lot of other people have been getting a flu that they've been fighting. Well, I will say that's interesting because people who, when they get sick like this, what's their one of their reactions? They say like, "Oh, well, I guess that flu shot I got did nothing," and you never know because I did get my flu shot. I did get a booster this past season. I don't know if all this stuff would be way worse if I didn't get it, right? Um, but then again, so many of these strains have similar symptoms. That's why up until like the fever and the aches, when people talk about runny nose, cough, that type of thing, there's so many things that can share those traits. So it's really hard to narrow down. That's why being as specific as possible when you're going to the doctor, um, if you want to make, I don't know. I have a hard time recommending things that I don't do myself. I was going to say, well, if you want to make like a checklist, a note list of things that you want to bring to the doctor, you could do it. That sounds smart. Is that something that I do? No, I don't. I try to keep a mental tally if I even manage to remember that. But okay, we're getting along here, and I'm rambling, and somehow we almost got to 20 minutes here. I appreciate whoever swung by, subbed, wanted to share how they're feeling. I'm glad that most of the other people who jumped in aren't feeling sick. I will close out saying that I might have an opportunity coming my way to be teaching in the classroom again. I don't know if that affects this channel or not, meaning I might have to be putting, this is a new thing, remaking, making content for this channel again. That's been dormant for years. If that puts a pause on this and I start making content on their channel, or if I'm able to run things independently, or or that teaching thing doesn't pan out and we're back to this and I can continue to do, I don't want to say crazy, but I can kind of keep pushing my philosophy on teaching. And I know like a lot of these lives have been still pretty standard cookie cutter stuff, but not pushing the envelope, but really getting away from like the lecture, the classroom stuff. I I still only have like cracked the stuff that they don't actually teach you in school. And like that's something that I want to keep working on. It hurts when you pee. Oh, I hope not, Tin Man. I hope not. I forgot I forgot the street lingo for that type of stuff. But uh you say it in jest, or I'm gonna believe you say it in jest. Everyone else, if that happens, go see a doctor, please. And please don't just describe that as I'm not feeling well. All right, that's it for me. Tim Man, thank you for the zinger at the end here. Rika on CapCut, be well, take care of yourself. And yeah, I appreciate that, Rika. Like, this is what I'll say about teaching. And I'm going to lay it out on the table next time I meet with those group of people. It's like, people think teaching is you prepare your lesson and then you're on and then you teach. That's the easy part that people can still fumble, that I can fumble myself. Again, I say live streaming is a completely different thing. The hardest part and like the true essence of teaching is when you have all your material and you explain it, there's questions, and you clarify it really well, and they still don't get it. What do you do in that situation? The latest episode of Abbott Elementary, excuse me, they actually touched on it really well. Janine was freaking out because like her lesson plan, her tried and true method wasn't working on her students anymore, and she was spiraling. She was freaking out like that character usually does. And she was worried, it's like, oh, just when I thought I figured it out, like, does it ever get better? And like all the other teachers had to tell her, it's like, that's the name of the game. There is never any one perfect way to do it. What worked before isn't guaranteed to work later. But on the flip side, one of the really rewarding aspects is when you have a lesson plan that bombed, that did terrible, and you can turn it into a success. And sometimes it needs a lot of tweaking. And then sometimes it's the timing or any number of other X factors. So apologies. I'm not gonna throw up or anything, but like my voice is doing like really weird things. It's probably because this is the most I've talked in like this past week. So so you don't have to suffer me making really really weird faces anymore. Again, Rika on CapCut, I appreciate you hanging in here. It's always helpful for me to again, live streaming is so bizarre, but as long as I have like at least one person that I can feel like I'm talking with, makes it so much better. You have a good rest of your Sunday, good health, be well, and hopefully I'll have an update for you guys next week. Otherwise, we'll keep on carrying on with these Sunday live streams. All right, take care, everybody. Bye bye now.